What's your, oh fuck, I am an asshole, moment? I was driving down a road and a lot of people were honking and yelling at me on the street. I got angry and flipped a bunch of people off and honked back. At the end of the street I saw a one-way sign and realized I was going in the wrong direction. Someone I hadn't talked to in years came up to me and started telling me about how they haven't been doing that good lately and that they found out they have cancer. Well, I was at work and only half paying attention, so after he stopped talking I said, "That's good. Haven't seen him since." I was making fun of an old guy I'd seen outside our school at a basketball tournament to some friends in the locker room. He looked and talked like Farmer Fran from The Waterboy. Turned out to be the dad of one of the guys I was talking to. Still can't even think of that movie without it bringing up endless amounts of shame. In early high school, late 90s, so if you got a girl's number it was the house number. I called a girl's house and her dad answered. She was out, but I noticed his speech was a bit slow and slurred. Next day at school I mentioned I had called, and asked if her dad had been drinking. Well, turns out he didn't drink much since his stroke. Still feel awful about that. Years ago I went into a hot topic, and as I was at the register, the girl working started telling me about all the new Metallica shirts they had gotten. For some reason, I told her I wasn't really into wearing band shirts anymore, which was mostly true. And even though I didn't mean to, it came out sounding really snobbish. At the time, I thought her reaction was kinda strange, even accounting for my accidental condescension. Shortly after I left the store I remembered I was wearing a Nin shirt. I was drunk at a pub and shouted for the band to play Free Bird. They stopped in the middle of the song they were playing, started up Free Bird and called me up on stage to sing it. I froze, forgot all the lyrics and made an absolute ass of myself. Props to that band though. Posting on Reddit sometimes makes me reread my shit and realize I'm being an asshole. I don't do it on purpose, but I think years of reading and writing posts on the internet has tainted my tone. What's your name? I asked. Shara, trying to be playful. Oh cool. Like Sarah with a lisp. I have a lisp. My name is Sarah. Oof. When you fight with your friend over something, leave. Then realize they were right. When I realized the reason I've lost so many friends is that I'm so shitty at getting back to people. My friend group tried to stay close after high school, but we all fell out of touch, as you do as everyone forged their own path in life. Well, mine led me down a path of depression, anxiety, and failure. So every year or so they would hold a get-together to reconnect and hang out. I attended a couple of these. But as time went on and my downward spiral got worse, I stopped responding to calls, texts, invites, etc. because I thought that no one would want to hang out with this version of me. I was invited to 2 weddings which I didn't even respond to because of this negative loop. And then when my best friend from that group was diagnosed with cancer, I couldn't even bring myself to face him. I tried to go to his funeral but couldn't enter the building because I felt that I didn't deserve to be there. Finally, a few months ago, the parents of one of my friends saw me at work and wanted to talk to me. They told me that my friend group was really broken up, that I ignored all of their attempts to reach out to me. It was then that I realized that in all of my stress about being miserable to be around, I had become an asshole to those who tried to care about me. Edit. I wrote this as a confession into a void, expecting it to get lost in the ether that is the internet. I never expected to get so much support to the point where I'm literally crying. Thank you everyone. I've been trying to get through it alone for the past 4 years, and to know I'm not alone goes a long way. 8th grade. Speech class. A kid had been absent a few days. And when he came back, I started razzing him a bit. We were friendly, but not friends, so I felt okay kidding around, claiming he was just pretending to be sick to get out of class, that sort of thing. Nothing really mean, though. He took it for a bit, then turned, looked me dead in the eyes, and said in the flattest voice, "No. My mother died," and turned back around. If God had struck me dead with a bolt of lightning when I stood before him at the pearly gates, I'd have said, "Yeah, fair enough." Edit. Wow. Thanks for all the rewards. I had no idea this was such a common experience. This happened about 35 years ago for me. So while it doesn't keep me up at night, it is one of those little reminders to not treat everything as an opportunity for joking. A little personal growth. You know, as a bit of an epilogue, I went to my 30th high school reunion. And who should be there but dead mom guy from speech class. We actually hung out and talked a while. His wife and I got along great. We're Facebook friends. And he seems like a pretty cool guy. But I bet you can all guess what memory I have not and will not be bringing up. Ever. I was in the army. Making fun of a guy. Said he couldn't even get a medal for something in the Special Olympics. He then pointed out his daughter was in the Special Olympics. I profusely apologized. And he accepted. But it still keeps me awake at night. This entire year. Been recovering from my divorce last year and it forced me to take a hard, honest look at myself and all the shit I used to do and how I actually treated those around me. A lot of tough to swallow pills. But a lot of much needed reflection taken place. For years I used the same thing happened to me line whenever someone opened up to me. Instead of just shutting up and listening to them. But yeah. Working on it. Edit. Gosh. I was rewarded for being an asshole to other people. Thank you, but also I'm conflicted about it. At the movies once it was just me and friends and one other group sitting in front. There was a guy in front that kept slurping on an icy really loudly. Like he just really wanted to get every last drop. After a few minutes I got really agitated and made a super obnoxious and loud slurping sound to make them aware that it was annoying me. Literally as soon as I did it I saw that it was a disabled man and his parents and he had a suction tube. I was so ashamed I walked out of the theater quietly whispering to them. I'm so sorry. I never went back in. When I was 16, I worked in a retail store and was in charge of the fitting room. You see people come in and out so much that you sometimes don't pay too close attention. A woman walked in with their preteen kid so I pointed towards the lady's side. I only side glanced and saw her kid was wearing a baseball cap with their head lowered. And really baggy clothes. I immediately assumed the kid was a boy and pointed towards the men's side. They looked super awkward and uncomfortable before their mother corrected me and said, "She's my daughter." I apologized profusely and their mom decided to nag her by saying, "See. With the clothes you wear. People think you're a boy." I felt even more terrible that I put her in this weird conversation with her mom. Edit. Well, I woke up to a few dozen nice messages that made me feel better about this. Thank you. And for anyone wondering, this happened in 2007 in New England. Back then, non-binary wasn't exactly discussed or regularly talked about among teenagers, so at 16, I definitely panicked because I didn't want to offend customers and possibly get fired. If this had happened today, I probably wouldn't have said anything at all and just pointed in whichever direction they'd like to go. Good to know we can all agree that the mother was the real dick in this situation. I asked two black ladies at work what language they were speaking. I am really big into languages and I felt like I hadn't heard the one they were speaking before. English. They were speaking English and they just both happened to have really thick accents. I blamed my fart on a mentally challenged boy in 5th grade. I told my friend that she shouldn't use medication for her mental illness because I was convinced she could just use sheer will to get through it. It was an asshole move to make her second guess getting professional help to address her mental health issues. I wish I just instead offered support instead of trying to fix it. When she mentioned the side effects. When I had no idea what I was talking about. This was when I was a teenager and thought I knew everything. Edit. Just wanted to add that I offered we face it together. That we would find the root of why she felt so anxious, depressed, and we'd squash it. I thought that medication was temporary and wouldn't help in the long run. Yet the assistance of a 16-year-old with no medical license could. I just didn't want my friend to suffer, but it was so wrong to try to substitute a medical professional. My girlfriend recently dumped me. Looking around my room and seeing all the things they bought me and being reminded of all the things they did for me and then noticing I hardly did anything in return. I rang and paid for a mowing service, and when the guy rocked up, I started telling him that I can't mow the lawn myself anymore as my injured ankle would play up and hurt for the rest of the day. Then he got out of the car and I realized he was an amputee from the knee down.